Hi everyone, welcome to Cancer Healing Journey Talks. Myself Sonali Modi from Community Outreach Team of ZenOnco.io and Love Heals Cancer. We guide cancer patients on adopting an integrative oncology treatment approach. We help them find the balance between medical treatment and complementary treatment approaches. We help our patients with our team of oncologists, lab experts, nutritionists, and other healthcare professionals so that we can improve the treatment outcome for patients. We also help in connecting patients with other cancer warriors who have gone through this journey to address their queries, and we also share inspirational journeys to motivate cancer warriors who are going through this journey currently. So, firstly, I would like to introduce you to today's speaker, Mr. Samuel Gunnell. He's a cancer warrior. I'm happy that you're here with us today to share your story. So, Samuel, please tell me something about yourself.
Well, yeah, my name is Samuel. I'm South African. I'm just a person that loves life. I radically changed because of the experience that I've had, and I'm so excited and enthusiastic to get everybody back to if I could turn my situation around from a near-death situation, helping anyone get back to feel that they can also breathe and enjoy whatever they want from their own life. Enthusiasm. That's a bit about me.
So, what made you go for the diagnosis and what were the initial symptoms?
Well, I had what was a very bad breakup that caused a lot of stress. Also, then later on, a couple of other events, traumatic events, such as being retrenched from a job that was paying me so much. The stress involved made me have some symptoms that started to lodge onto my bio itself. I get symptoms of stiff neck. I couldn't eat. Whatever I ate was rejected from my body. And I also had I couldn't sleep. It's like my body just ran down. I felt very tired. That made me go and find out what is this, because it was unusual for me. I'm a young man. I'm at that point 28, 29 years old. So what was this bio of myself?
Yeah. So at what age were you diagnosed and what cancer type it was?
I was at the age 29, 28, I think. Between 28 and 29. And when I was diagnosed, after 3 months of a whole lot of, colonoscopies and gastroscopies and every kind of initiation of trying to find out what happened. They eventually found out that I had multiple myeloma and lymphoma cancer at the same time. So I had 2 bone marrow biopsies. The first 2 bone marrow biopsies found out, diagnosed this prognosis. Eventually having 12 of those bone marrow biopsies, but yeah, that's how I found out.
Yeah. So at what stage were you diagnosed?
The stage, however, when it comes to when the lymphoma was pretty early, so it was easy to get over. But with multiple myeloma, there isn't really a stage because of the cells. How it reacts to your body reacts different to each human being. What they told me was that my white cells, corpuscle cells, has completely run down. So it was producing cells, but the cells itself were of no use. So the count was very high, but they were producing soldiers that had no guns, if I can put it easier. So there was no stage. They couldn't diagnose a stage as such. 2 months to live is what they told me.
Yeah. So how this news was disclosed to you and your family?
So I was in the hospital, Victoria Hospital. Actually, before that, just to give some context, I was living with my sister after being retrenched. I couldn't actually work. I was losing weight so drastically I got to a point where I was 41 kilograms. And give context on that, I'm 1.79, 1.80 meters tall. So that's the average weight of about an 11-year-old child. So at that point, I felt like I just wanted to die. I was completely run down. So someone that's always full of energy, I just wanted to die. So I told my sister, I want to die. And they took me to the Victoria Hospital. And yeah, it took about 3 months before they got a specialist to find out that in my blood, there was this deficiency of white cells that was able to fight. And then a doctor came into from Cameroon into Cape Town, where I live, to give me the news. And he asked me this question. He said, listen, I've got news for you. And I actually prayed. That's what I asked. I asked, just let me find out what's wrong with me. Because laying there for 3 months, you're confused, you're going through trauma, you're depressed, you're despondent, just because nobody knows what's going on. You in a place where you think that the specialists and these doctors would know exactly what's going on. And of course, because of the diversity of cancer, you don't know upfront. And it's a very scary time. So when they did get the diagnosis, and he came to me, this doctor said to me, I got good news and I got bad news. I was hoping the good news would be that they know how to help me. But the good news was that they knew what was wrong. They found the diagnosis. And they found out that he said to me, the good news is that we know that you have got multiple myeloma with a partial lymphoma cancer. But the bad news is we haven't had a successful curable out of this. So this doesn't look like the best news in the world, but at least we can work on this. We know what's wrong with you. Yeah. So yeah, that's when I found that was June of 2009.
Okay, long time back.
Long time back, yeah.
Yeah, so how did you all face it?
My wife?
Yeah, how did you face it, and like how your family took this news?
Okay, so my mom was then alive, and I was only my sisters or my sister myself. I was separated from my ex. My daughter was around, so she never understood at that age what it meant. But my mom took it very tough. It was very hard for her. Because when you hear about, without being educated about cancer, when you hear about it, you hear death. There's no, these stories that you guys are doing would have helped substantially if someone else had given me the news that what the rate of death is, what the percentages are, what you're able to do, what cancer really is. So at that point was devastation. All they're hearing is death. And my sisters as well were like, what are we gonna do? There was talks about what's in my will. Because that was what the news was. So it was very devastating for them. But for myself, I took it as that's the only news I can live with at the moment. I had to surrender the old world that I lived in, of waking up in the morning and earning money to resource this lifestyle of mine. I surrendered that, and I asked God can take control of this. So to me, it was a very different story. The narrative screamed very different, whereas the filters that my mom and everyone else that doesn't know anything about cancer, it was really devastating.
Yeah. And you know, such type of cancers are generally, you got some symptoms, so you went to the doctor for the checkups and then it got detected. But many a times, is self-examination important? What you believe, and what is your opinion, that people should go for self-examination and regular tests so that the cancer gets detected at an early stage? Because if it generally progresses and the condition day by day deteriorates. So what is your opinion on the same?
I believe that, like anything else, the education would produce that self diagnosis and self assistance would get out of that. So if you've got some kind of education, if you've heard something about it, you would then regulate an opportunity to say, listen, let me go check out for myself. And that will produce that you can find things in an early enough stage to remedy it. It's easier said than done to say to someone that has got zero education just to go check up because of the fear involved. But education allows us to give us a strong and a more projected opinion on what we need to do. So I'm from the opinion that education and the spread of the awareness of cancer would contribute to how we would then see it and then work our way through it. I mean, the more I learned about what my situation was, the more I now understood what contributed. From what my response is, my work that I do now at the White Flag, myself and my wife, comes from the reason that I went through what I went through. It was from depression. The mind itself shut down, which then gave the body to give this response in that. So I believe that getting the mind and the soul and your emotions in control can substantially contribute to illness in any case, to how you get over illness and also how you can look after your body.
Yeah, because if we train our mind, then ultimately we will get to have a positive mindset. Because during cancer, positive mindset is very much important, and surrounding yourself with positive people around yourself and cutting out of toxicity.
Yes.
So from where did you get your support system along with the family?
So I've got a very powerful mindset. I've always been a strong-willed human being. And I've been that support system for so long before this even happened to me. So I learned to regulate the voice inside of my head to be that motivated. I'm a stern believer that human beings don't need to be motivated. I still believe that human beings need to find the inspiration within themselves of who and what they're capable of doing. And that skill sets can be done through a verbal conversation, which we do in coaching, that type of thing. But when you're saying support system, I was alone in that situation. That's the way I saw it. The human beings that can come around and be around me, but I'm alone in the situation. No one can feel what I'm feeling. And that's what really, if I respond to your support system, it was my willpower that was my strongest support system. Being connected with God, being connected with some kind of sovereignty, and having an opportunity to say, it's okay to be quiet. It's okay not to be involved in anything else, and letting go of the human world, which is just rendering us to feel more stressed, and that would not help my situation. So my support structure is knowing I can only be present in what I have now and do what I need to do at this point. I think that's a very powerful way of how we can get someone that's got a critical or chronic disease that might be caused to death to have that day. So sometimes we get dependent on those around us, but it's so important that those around us also come and show support. Just a visit, say hi, speak to me like a human being, not a patient. Doctors and Grootes Schuur, which is a big hospital in Cape Town, used to phone me to come speak and help inspire those guys to go for bone marrow transplants, which I did twice. It's a scary thing. So you'll never believe how powerful being spoken to like a human being, like someone that's still alive can be, not someone that's a patient.
Yeah, very well said. So what treatment did you underwent?
Wow. Chemo, 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 and chemo. And then, of course, the 2 bone marrow transplants. So I had extensive chemo treatment. I didn't have any radiology. For me, I feel that's a good thing. I don't know because I never had radiology, but the chemo treatment was really extensive to a point where the hair loss is not a problem to me. I never had a problem with hair loss. In fact, because of cancer, I cut my hair short all the time. My hair used to be long, gel in it, and but because of cancer, I cut my hair short because I got used to it, and it's also easier. So yeah, the chemo was extensive, really extensive treatment. In fact, if I smell bleach, I get nauseous. If I see that bag, even on movies, I watch a cancer movie, and I see that bag they put over the chemotherapy, I get nauseous sitting. It's just the trauma trigger that gets to me. So yeah, chemo for 3 years. I was in treatment. Yeah.
Okay, so how many chemotherapy cycles you went through?
Wow, that's an amazing question. I can't even remember. Since 2000, the first time I was prepped with prednisone and cortisone steroids to gain the weight to be able to take on this amount of chemo. And then I had about 3 or 4 phases before they shut me down for a few months. And then I had another 3 or 4 phases, which is coming twice a week, thrice a week at a time. It'll be a phase, and then another. They have a break for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then you come in again, and then you come in again. So that'll be a one single phase. So I've had 3 or 4 phases like that extensively. Wow, throughout the 3 years. I never had a break.
Yeah. So, chemotherapy is a very tough routine. So, please share your experience and how you coped with it and what all difficulties you faced during the treatment.
So, the chemotherapy, like I'm trying to pass on that it's about education. When you hear chemotherapy, you hear something similar to radiology. You feel that it's going to be some awkward or surgery. That's what it sounds like. But it's actually just from the first time they put these through your veins. I'm lacking my vocab today. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just excited. But it goes to your veins, and after about 20 minutes or half an hour or so, you would start feeling this tiredness that comes over you. And to some, my experience was nausea, very bad nausea. And to people that has drank alcohol, it feels like you've had a very long night out. It feels like you are hungover times 10. So my remedy would be that I would be in a quiet room after it's done, and I'll have rest. I'll go sleep. I won't do anything extensive. I'll go sleep, and I'll have a bucket next to me, just in case, and something cold to drink. What they used to prep me with a very bad chemo. When I say very bad chemo, it's needed before you go to a bone marrow transplant, or it needs to clean you out completely. I would eat ice. I would bite you on ice, so it would ready any kind of exertion on my throat or dryness in my lungs and so forth. So it really helped. Although I lost my whole top of my all my teeth on top. And that's because of how the chemo chewed on my gums and broke down and brittled down my teeth. That's a very extreme case in my God. It doesn't happen to everybody. That was one of the bad outcomes that came with me. But all I did, I just got myself a denture and I look normal. I had a reaction in my face and on my skin where it got very dark. A response that my reaction on my skin itself, dryness, and in the areas under my arms and so forth, the lymphoma which was taken away, I didn't respond that much. There was scarring that started and so forth under behind my kneecaps and on my legs. There was some very dark. It took some time before that skin could clear up. Yeah, but yeah, what I would do to remedy the chemo is not do anything extensive. I would go in a quiet room, have a rest. If I could fall asleep, it's even better. But something cold to drink, just in case, just to numb and ease the pain or the dryness that happened. It wasn't really pain that happens there. Otherwise than that, some discoloring in my nails. And that was my reaction, which all went away. I had a very bad reaction. I had pimples that broke. Some parts of my skin you can still see the little scarring there, but those things all cleared up and all went away. It just felt like, wow, what's going on while it was happening. My hair fell out on numerous occasions, and they all came back. Some people, they don't have that response, but in my case, I had that. I didn't worry about the hair falling out. Obviously, I think for a female, it's very different. But yeah, there's those kind of things that happen.
Yeah. So like, did you tried any alternative treatment?
The truth is, I did not have, first of all, the energy, the time, or I didn't have the type of response to be able to research those kind of things. I believe they all will help. I believe that they could have contributed to me healing. These homeopathic treatments that's beautiful and I think would help. There's some natural herbs that will assist you. But at that time, I didn't utilize anything. I put all my trust inside the doctors and I just focused on myself every single day, doing what I needed to do to get just a little bit of healing from the day before.
Yeah. So like, what all things helped you in your faster recovery?
Honestly, being around I met my wife during the time when I was sick. I don't know how, that was some heavenly intervention. And she came to visit me all the time. So spending my time around someone that considered me to be of value and not a patient. She enjoyed my company. Living in that relationship and that connection, knowing that that's possible. Spending time around my daughter, spending time around other people that just consider me to be a human being. Those things really help me. Reading up on positive mindsets and getting connected to the universe, sovereignty of the universe, God. That really did help me. In that case, I was very linked to how God is a healer, and that was the narrative that I was really attached to. Church and so forth. Although today I see everybody in every universal sovereignty as beneficial, my avenue was down the Christian pathway, which was powerfully assisted me at that time.
Yeah. So every crisis in life teaches you a particular lesson. So what life lessons did you get from your cancer journey?
Beautiful question. So the first one was I was very money orientated. I believed that I needed money all the time. And I was very good at making money as a salesman. So the first lesson that came up, we were driving to the hospital, and I had this drop in me, this information drop in me. It's like God was saying to me, you can't buy yourself out of this. Money cannot get you out of this. So don't worship money. Don't worship money. Don't give money it's the credit, because you can live your life for money, but money can't get you out of this. And that was a very powerful lesson that I learned. I also learned that there is doctors and nurses that dedicate their lives to other human beings every single day. And I was in and out of hospital, I'd say 70% of the time in those 3 years were in hospital. And there's a new world, there's another world out there in those hospitals. Those people wake up at 4 in the morning and they to assist other human beings. So I learned how to respect these people. Those are the real heroes to me. That's one of the lessons as well. I also found that spending your time is all you have, and what you pay attention to will grow and focus on. So paying attention to connection is the number one priority to me. Connecting with other human beings, connecting with and valuing that others can live their best lives. I can go on and on, but I mean, not working for 3 years. I didn't work for 3 years. I thought there was no life if you don't work. But taking out of that situation of working, being at home, taught me that actually you don't live life to work. There's other things happening all the time. And I value that.
You should value the small things in life always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do people need to expect when they get this cancer type?
What you should expect is that there are no answers that's going to be conclusive. It is about the time. It's like a gift to me. It's like a gift. Relax. It's gonna be okay. The more you search for those questions and answers and you stress about what's gonna happen, that's gonna lead you to a difficult way to get over it, to get past it. Think of it as a time that the universe, God, life itself is asking you to put the brakes on. Take care of those people around you. Have those conversations you thought you might have in 20 years' time. Have them now. Expect that doctors would have to do extensive research and extensive diagnosis. They have to go through lots of different tests. Expect that, so that they can get the exact treatment that would best suit your situation. And that does take time sometimes. It takes time. Let the time be on their side. You are not a doctor. These guys they've dedicated their lives. They studied for years and years to get the best outcome for you. But the difference, I would think, in what you do with myself, anyone else, look at other things that can help you. Some homeopathics, some herbs that will maybe get your appetite back, or maybe help you recover and feel more vital, revitalized, vitamins, so forth. Listen to doctors, listen to what they say, but don't panic. Don't panic. The recovery rate is by huge amounts, percentages of the recovery rates that you make it out. But to stress about it makes it difficult. So take the time, as in let them do the work. When you take your car to a mechanic and the gearbox is broken, do you lay under the car and move the parts? You pay money and you let him do the work. So think about it as you are the car in that regard. Let them do the work. They know what they're doing.
So like, what all things helped you and made you happy on this journey?
What all
things helped you and made you happy on this journey?
Well, during the time when I was in the 2 hospitals during my journey, and thereafter as well, I found who I was. From someone that I was given a gift to be able to inspire and help others, to lift others, to give humans value again. That's why I'm a life coach today. I'm very grateful for cancer to lead me into the way to being a life coach. A genuine way of transferring energy into someone else that might have lost hope. And that's what really makes me happy. What makes me happy is that my work today is that to help others get back on their feet.
Yes. So, gratitude seems to be the biggest strength to fight this kind of situation. So what were you ever so grateful for that made you always calm down after thinking or revisiting that memory?
I'm grateful that seeing the nurses and the doctors, that people wake up in the morning. I'm grateful that people wake up in the morning and I've witnessed it, that they want to help others live. I'm grateful for life itself. I'm grateful for finding new perspectives. I'm grateful for being able to communicate. When I came out of cancer, I used to pray. Before you pray, you all have a different way of doing it. But before you pray, what you're actually praying for, you're saying thankful for the food. You're grateful for the food.
Yes.
And the hands that prepared it. Because I couldn't eat for 4 weeks and I lost that weight, I'm first of all grateful for the ability to eat. Just for the ability to eat. There's people out there that don't have, but also people that's not able to eat. I know what it is not to be able to eat. And to be able to put food in my mouth was like, wow. Wow. What happened in Victoria Hospital, State Hospital, they'll come around with us every morning, afternoon and evening, come around with a trolley and they'll ask, would you eat? And for that time, in the initial time, the few weeks initially inside Victoria Hospital, I never ate a thing because I couldn't get anything in. I was on the drip all the time, intravenously getting my vitamins, but I couldn't eat and I was hungry. So one morning, after a wonderful person prayed for me, I woke up the next morning and she came with a trolley And then she was gonna walk past my bed because she's so used to me saying, "No, I'm not gonna eat." I put up my hand and I said, "Bring it here," and I could eat. And then I ate the guy that's across the room from me. I ate his food as well because it was such an amazing feeling. So the ability to just being able to do anything, the ability to use my hands, the ability to walk, it's just, I'm grateful for it. The ability to see others, to communicate, to be able to express myself. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. So, like, what was your first reaction when your reports were finally showing that you're cancer free?
Wow. So after my second bone marrow transplant, my wife, my fiance then, she would come in because I needed to weigh a certain weight to leave the hospital after the bone. But because of this chemo, extensive chemo, my body mass was down really low. So doctors still weren't thinking it's safe for me to leave. And I can remember, like, every time she'll come in, the doctors would then negotiate and say, "Look, he needs to pick up another 1 kilogram to get out here." But the two of us already knew that if I'm out of this hospital, there's a chance. The chance is there. So the day when the best feeling I had was leaving the hospital after the second bone marrow transplant, because then I was on the road to recovery, and that was elation on another level, because now I'm going to be seeing the world again. I'm going to be seeing the world again. I'm going to be re-socialized, like a dog that's been put into a SPCA or some kennel holding cell. I'm going to be re-socialized. Now, I couldn't wait to see human beings. Although I did have graft versus host disease from the first time, which meant that my immune system weren't sure whether I was able to respond or react in normal society. So I had to be slowly re-socialized, but that elation of being told, "Listen, you can go home now. You've made a weight that we feel you're able to get on with," out of being from being in isolation for 3 months at a time. It was such an amazing feeling, and I never got back. I got some vitamins thereafter that I should go pick up, but I was completely free. Yeah, I don't think I've celebrated internally like I've done on that day.
Yes. Yeah. So, do you still go for prescribed checkups after you have been declared cancer free?
No, I actually don't go anymore. I mean, it's been since 2012. It's almost 10 years in remission kind of things. I'm completely free, but there was an initial stage where I went for checkups all the time, and after the regular checkup saying that it's screen free, I took the step, and yeah. So, but I like going to visit and going to say hi to the nurses and the doctors, and giving a nice motivation sometimes to a patient. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have the fear of reoccurrence? And if yes, then how you deal with it?
Do I have the fear of
Reoccurrence of cancer?
Oh, reoccurrence. Okay. I think I do think about it from time to time, but I don't think I fear much. I don't fear much that it's reoccurring. It won't be the best situation in the world, but I don't fear it as such. I tend to think that I know more or less how it got into me, and the contributing factors that established its home, making my body a home. I tend to look after myself in a different way. So I don't have much of a fear of it. Also overcoming what was probably the worst devised plan from the enemy gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. So like, how do you feel more positive?
How? I define positivity. So positivity is to me a hunger.
Yeah.
I'm a forward-thinking, towards-thinking person. Positivity to me is not avoiding negativity. Positivity is seeing what's in front of you and being hungry enough to go after it.
Absolutely. So what would be your message to other cancer patients and caregivers?
Oh, wow. To the other cancer patients at this point, you're looking at the evidence of what cancer threatened to take away. My message to you would be, this is not such a big threat. It's a gift. And you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this because I got through it. It is not the best news, but it's also not the worst news. What do you want from your life in the next 3 or 5 years? This is going to give you an opportunity to refocus all your energy on as soon as you get past this. So write up your plans and what you would do with how you're going to attain that in this time. It's giving you a break. So you can write out those plans and you refocus your plans, refocus yourself towards your plans. So the caregivers, don't stop. Don't stop. Your kindness is the work of God. Don't stop. Even when you feel it's not going all the way, sometimes the response on the person that you're helping doesn't look that way. But without you, there's a really small chance that they will recover.
So what do you think are the stigmas attached to cancer and the importance of awareness for it?
Well, the stigmas attached to it is one of those distressing contributing factors. And one of the stigmas is that it's something that you did that got you cancer. One of the stigmas is got to do with your lifestyle. One of the stigmas is got to do with your demographic. One of the other stigmas is to do with genetics. And it's all redundant. It doesn't really help you. And most of it is not even in any way true. So the real problem is the assumption.
Yes.
Let the stigmas assume and you prove the truth. You are educating those out there that those stigmas have got less of an influence now. Survive this.
Yeah. So like, what are the things you appreciate or love about yourself?
Well, what for myself, what I appreciate is that I don't silence the effects of kindness and love and respect. My everyday work, although I get remunerated for it, it's work that gets paid for, does not matter. My everyday work is that I've stood up to the call.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
do what I need to do because I know that others have less of a chance of getting where they can or want to be. And it's easy to acknowledge or see a problem, but it takes something or someone to respond to the call.
Mm.
I'm a doer. If I was being one thing, I appreciate myself, I'm a doer.
Mm. So, like ZenOnco.io works towards the betterment of cancer patients through integrated oncology approach. So, what are your thoughts on the same?
On what you guys do,
Yeah.
I think this should be universally utilized. You guys stood up for something that has got my admiration. It's got my respect. You're educating, you're nurturing, you're healing, you're helping. My message to you guys is that you might not hear it every day, but you are the superheroes of this world. We appreciate you. I believe that you guys must grow extensively.
Mm.
I believe there should be clinics of you guys around all over the world. And keep doing it, keep growing. I know it's sometimes, like even with at White Flag, what we do with life coaching, it feels as if, how do you grow? And how do you, what are you gonna do next? Because you just got so much help you wanna give. Well, if you don't do what you do every day, then you will have no chance of it growing. So you're waking up in the morning knowing that that's gonna be the outcome. But you need to do every single thing. Everything you're doing each day needs to be done just the way you're doing it now for it to grow in any case. So stick to your guns, keep your commitment. And well done. I'll definitely be sharing more about what you guys do.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your kind words. So, if you have to sum up your journey in one sentence, then what would that be?
In one sentence, your dream is only able to be seen by you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Follow your dream.
Always follow your dream. Yeah. So it was lovely having you here today on this session with us, Samuel. And I hope this session really motivates people out there who are traveling or who have traveled to this journey. So thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you very much. And I hope you have an awesome response from this.
Yeah.